On behalf of Dr.Syama Prasad Mookerjee Research Foundation, New Delhi, I extend a warm welcome to
On
our
behalf
Honorable
of
Governor,
Dr.Syama
distinguished
Prasad
guests,
Mookerjee Research
dignitaries,
Foundation, New
scholars,
Delhi,
and friends
I extend a
who have
warm
gathered here
welcome
today
on
to
behalf of
celebrate
Dr.Syama
the
Prasad
125th
Mookerjee
birth
Research
anniversary
Foundation,
of
New
Dr.
Delhi,
Syama
and
Prasad
friends. I
Mookerjee,
extend a
who have
warm
gathered
welcome
here. We
on
now invite
behalf of
Dr.
Dr. Syama
Nandakumar
Prasad
to
Mookerjee
deliver
Research
the welcome
Foundation,
address.
New
Dr.
Delhi,
Syama
and
Prasad
friends. I
Mookerjee,
extend a
who have
warm
gathered
welcome
here. We
on
now
behalf
invite
of
Dr.
Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee Research Foundation, New Delhi, and friends. I extend a warm welcome on behalf of Dr. Syama Prasad
माननीय नंदकुमार जी नेशनल कन्वीनर प्रज्ञा प्रभा माननीय distinguished guests and my dear brothers and sisters. This year marks the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee was a multifaceted personality, a great patriot, a statesman, a visionary, all combined into one. He became the Vice Chancellor of Calcutta University at the age of 33. And he introduced many reforms. For the first time, our mother dead during the British period. Convocation was conducted in the 1930s. The convocation address was by Shri So, as an educationist, he brought in many reforms, including the introduction of Indian civilization and archaeology into the subject. He was a lawmaker. He became the Legislative Council member at the age of 28, and he was there in the Bengal Legislative Assembly, and later he became the member of the Constituent Assembly and member of the Parliament during the first elections held after independence in 1952. He was a public leader. He was the leader of All India Hindu Mahasabha. He was the first leader to go to Navakali when the program was taking place. 25th birth anniversary for the next 2 years. So as a part of it, Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee Research Foundation, New Delhi, is organizing this program. We are highly thankful to our Honorable Governor for kindly consenting to be the chief guest and presiding over this function at Raj Bhavan. We also thank Mananiya Nandakumar ji, one of the foremost nationalistic thinkers of India, who is heading the Prajna Pravah, which is revolutionizing our colonized minds across the country. So we all part of India, we do not know about Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. He lived just for 52 years, and he was in public life just for 14 years. That too, he was an educationist. He wanted to be an educationist only. But circumstances compelled him, and the intellectuals in Bengal, including, very great intellectuals, they compelled him to enter public life because in the 1930s and 40s, under the Muslim League governance in Bengal, there was continuous attack on the majority Hindus. Somebody had to protect the interests of the people. Nobody was there. So he was requested to enter public life. That is how he entered public life. In fact, Mahatma Gandhi was very happy when he came to know that Dr. Mookerjee entered public life. He said somebody was needed to lead Hindus after Madan Mohan Malviya, for which Dr. Mookerjee said, "But you will all call me communal." Gandhiji replied to him in these words, like Shiva could drink poison after, during the churning of sea, somebody must be there to drink the poison of Indian politics. It could be you. So that is how Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee entered public life. And there are three major contributions of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. One is, today we have what we call this West Bengal because of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee's efforts. He was one of those who did not want our country to be partisan on the religious lines. He did not like it. But circumstances moved in such a way that there was no alternative but to divide India into two, namely India and Pakistan. But during that time, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, leader of the Muslim League, he wanted the entire Bengal and the entire Punjab to go with the present day Pakistan and then now what we call Bangladesh. He was very particular that the entire Bengal and Calcutta should go with Pakistan. But Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee stood in between. He went and convinced all senior leaders, including Mahatma Gandhi, all senior leaders. He mobilized public opinion. He mobilized the intellectuals, and finally he stopped the entire West Bengal in those days to be taken over by the Pakistan. So today we have Calcutta with us. Today we have West Bengal with us, western side Punjab with us. It is largely because of the efforts of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. So we have to thank him for that. And second, all of us know that when the Jammu Kashmir problem came up in the at the time of independence, you know, those days under the Prime Ministership of Nehru, the government of India granted special rights to Jammu Kashmir. So there were two constitutions, two flags, to which people like Dr. Ambedkar and Dr. Mookerjee opposed. They said in one country there cannot be, two countries, two flags, two constitutions. So they opposed it. But in spite of it, Nehru gave special powers to Jammu Kashmir. If they somebody want to enter Jammu Kashmir, then one needed permit to enter Jammu Kashmir. He defied it. He went inside. In fact, he was trapped inside Jammu Kashmir, and then he was sent to a very lonely place. At that time, he was having physical ailments, etc., heart ailment and all. He was not given proper treatment. He was put in a secluded place during June 1953 when he was having problems. June 1920 nights when he was having problem. No proper medical attention was given. When he was having serious problem, he was taken to a hospital. You will be surprised to know he was taken to a maternity ward in a jeep, in a sitting position, because no proper ambulance facilities were given, and after 2-3 days, he breathed his last. So that was how a great patriot's life was restricted to just 52 years. Great leaders like Kripalani, Jayaprakash Narayanan, and Dr. Mookerjee's own mother, they all wanted inquiry to be conducted towards this, against the background to know the background of Dr. Mookerjee's untimely death, but Jawaharlal Nehru refused. That is history. So today, now all of us know Article 370 has taken up. Jammu Kashmir has become an internal part and parcel of Bharat. So that is because the first martyr to the cause of national unity and integrity was Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. So second important contribution. And third important contribution was at that time, there was only one powerful party, that was the ruling party, but he wanted a nationalistic party. He said in his words, that the present party, this party wanted to run the government to make the state, reconstruct the state. Wanted a new type of country, but we don't want that. We want the country to be again reconstructed on the basis of our own tradition, civilization, values. As a result of which, he founded the Jan Sangh Party, which has become the largest party in the world today. So these are all the major contributions of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. So to remember his contributions, to explain this to the public at large, particularly the elite sections, young sections, we are trying to organize this kind of conferences to educate the public. So in that connection, we are organizing this program. I am extremely happy to welcome all of you. We are particularly thankful to the Honorable Governor and Shri Nandakumar ji. Our way of looking at nation is something different, because Bharat is not just another country, it's a civilization. She is an ancient civilization, perhaps the longest living civilization with thousands of years of experience. So Mananiya Nandakumar ji will be presenting the concept of our nation, our own concept, civilizational concept of our nation to all of us. So we are very, very fortunate to have him. In spite of his highly hectic schedule, he has agreed to come here. I thank him particularly for his visit and then his lecture. So thank you once again, all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for that gracious welcome and setting the tone for the memorial celebration of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome Shri J. Nandakumar ji, whose life and work exemplify excellence, dedication, and national service. May I now request him to deliver the memorial lecture.
Honorable Governor Shri Rajendra Vishnath Halekarji, respected Professor Kanakasaphabati, respected ACS, Shri Nandakumar, who is representing Syama Prasad Mookerjee Research Foundation, distinguished scholars, esteemed guests, respected colleagues, and learned staff members of Raj Bhavan. Though I have been given a topic to discuss with you, with the permission of the organizing committee and SPM RF, I also want to share with you few words, some specialities of the great son of Bharat Mata, Shri Syama Prasad Mookerjee, whom we are remembering today during his 125th birth anniversary. Yes, he was a true son of Bharat Mata. It has been clearly mentioned by a person who has got every right to say so. You know, about a son or a daughter, mother can only say what he is. So what Srimati Yogmaya Devi, when came to know about her beloved son's sad demise inside the jail of Kashmir in the cruel conditions, she made a statement. The most important sentence of that statement goes like this: proudly do I feel that the loss of my son is a loss to Mother India. It was really a loss of Mother India. That means Yogmaya Devi has dedicated her son to the Bharat Mata, and she also was considering her as the true son of Bharat Mata. Already Dr. Kanakasaphabati has mentioned many of the points, many of the contributions which Syam Babu has made. One foremost thing was his contribution as an educationist. Probably he was the youngest vice chancellor in the whole world, it has been mentioned so, of the largest university of Asia. And his contribution to that university and the education field in general was immense, was phenomenal. Those 5 glorious years where he was doing the duty of Vice Chancellor under his stewardship, the university has developed a great standard of education, a knowledge creation center, started so many new departments very much related to the knowledge creation. And that's why Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore praised him, saying, Dr. Mookerjee brings to the university a mind that is modern but not deracinated. It's a great observation. Syama Prasad Mookerjee, you know, he was a bright student. He got barristership from England. He started practicing at a tender age. He has got a huge exposure in the whole world. He was a progressive person. but without cutting himself from the roots. That's why Rabindranath Tagore mentioned his mind that is modern but not deracinated. Being modern without cutting away from the roots is a great challenge for everyone. Many modern leaders were there, or leaders became modern. Those who were very much away from the basic cultural and civilizational roots and moorings of this nation. So many contemporaries were there, I don't want to mention such names. There are examples, many an example. To become progressive, become modern, become a developed personality, one should cut away his roots and connection with the Bharat. That is the general belief. But Syama Prasad Mookerjee, having got a great opportunity to learn, understand what the whole world is, and also the most modern theories and ideologies, never cut away himself away from our roots. Be modern without losing itself. It has been, this particular question and particular challenge has been clearly answered by Shri Aurobindo in his phenomenal book, Indian Culture and External Influence. He was saying, let me quote, "Those who live most powerfully in themselves can also most largely use the world and all its material for the self, and it must be added, most successfully help the world and enrich it out of their own being. The man who most finds and lives from the inner self can most embrace the universal and become one with it. Therefore, to live in oneself, determining one's self-expression from one's own center of being in accordance with one's own law of being, so dharma is the first necessity." Actually, Aurobindo was mentioning about the growth and development of this nation, but it is actually an explanation of what Syama Prasad Mookerjee was. Another important contribution already Kanaka Babaji has mentioned was his economic vision and conceptual clarity about development. As it was clearly mentioned, Education Policy 2020. At that time, Syama Prasad Mookerjee was continuously saying that we must have an education policy with the nation at its center. It must be a nation-first policy. That was his position during his era as an educationist. And when he became the industrial minister or the supply minister, he put forward the idea Swadeshi in modern form. In a 1948 parliamentary debate, he said, industrialization divorced from self-reliance is only another form of dependence. Divorced from self, divorced from swa, it is again it is another form of dependence. That was his vision regarding the industrialization and the development. His vision anticipated today's Atmanirbhar policy, emphasizing indigenous capacity, strategic industries and national resilience. He also proposed national boards for key sectors like steel, coal and shipping, ideas that were later adopted in various forms under successive governments. Already Bengal and Jammu Kashmir have been mentioned. The point which I have to mention, to put before you, and the topic which has been asked to discuss with you is about the idea of nation. I must start from Syama Prasad Mookerjee himself. His vision about Rashtra, it was not nation. It was not nation state. The main problem which the ideological positioning of our politicians and social scientists is, we are considering our Rashtra as a nation state, a replica of a Western nation. But Syama Prasad Mookerjee always said that Rashtra was clear and he put strongly before anyone without worrying about the so-called political correctness or the so-called pseudo-progressiveness. He never minced these words. His speeches in parliament and sharp interventions in the Constituent Assembly debates were worthy to remember in this context. He has always stood for Rashtra, a cultural creation. Dr. Mookerjee consistently argued that Bharat nationhood was not a product of 1947. It was not a product of British administration. Many of the great thinkers, so they are thinking, they are great thinkers, they used to say that this nation is in a process of making. You might be remembering that great poetic speech which has been made from the ramparts of the Red Fort on 1947 August 15, in which it has been clearly mentioned that we are a nation in making. That sentence itself is erroneous. It hasn't got any historical content. It hasn't got any philosophical content. The person who spoke from that particular position was speaking about this nation is in the process of making. Means what? Means this is not a nation. It was not a nation. It is not a nation. Probably it may become a nation in the future. That was a position. But Syama Prasad Mookerjee, without mincing his words, he said, our nationality in 1949 debate, he said, our nationality is not a mechanical concept. Our nationality is not a mechanical concept. Our nationality is not a product of some contract theory. It is a living force that has survived through millennia because of our culture, not in spite of it. That was his position. This was very much similar to Baba Saheb Ambedkar's position. When Baba Saheb Ambedkar was presenting his paper on caste in 1916 in Columbia University, he was speaking about the unity, geographical unity of the Bharat. And while explaining about that geographical unity, which is very much envious to the whole world, not even a single country can claim such a geographical unity. That was his speech. And then he said, not only geographical unity, ours is a unity only because of the indubitable cultural unity which extends from one end to another. From south to north, Bharat is one because of our culture is one. So, in the very same way, Syama Prasad Mookerjee also took a position and said, our nationality is not a mechanical concept, it is a living force that has survived through millennia because of our culture only, not in spite of it. And his concept, it was crystal clear. He made a clear distinction between territorial nationalism and cultural nationalism. Some of the great thinkers were speaking about the territorial nationality. But Syama Prasad Mookerjee was always for cultural nationalism. He never believed, like many of his political contemporaries at the helm of the affairs, did as ours is a nation in making, or it came into existence after Britain came here. There are a lot of thinkers nowadays also. Among us also, there are so many thinkers or so many intellectuals, so-called intellectuals used to say that Bharat was created after Britain came here. Recently, I got a misfortune to read one of the tweets made by an intellectual in which she was saying, I don't want to mention the name, she was saying, and she was addressing the Honorable Prime Minister. It was during the prachar of 75th year of Bharat's independence. In connection with that program, so many programs, issue that there were so many programs in Bharat. At that time, this particular intellectual lady was addressing Honorable Pradhan Mantri and asking him, Areo Baba, you are talking much about this Bharat. Where was it before Britain came here? It was just a landmass in between Burma and Afghanistan. That was the conclusion made by so many of the intellectuals. Still such people are there. But he was very much firm in his conclusion about the nation. And he said, nation or the people, or his commitment was towards the nation or the people. So that's why he dared to challenge none other than Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and resigned from central cabinet on this ideological position. Only on this ideological position, not because of any of the salary rise or anything. He was on this clear position about the nation. The civilizational content of this nation shall not be compromised. He was a member of the Nehru cabinet in charge of industry and supplies. He strongly opposed to many of the policies of the government, which was meekly surrendering before the pressure tactics of the divisive forces, the so-called pseudo-secularists. When Delhi Pact was signed in between Nehru and Liaquat Ali Khan, the true manifestation of, I would like to call Syama Prasad Mookerjee like this, the true manifestation of Bharatiya pride. Syama Prasad Mookerjee roared in the parliament. His speeches were phenomenal. At that time, the people used to say that there were two Mookerjees. One was from Janasangha side and one from communist side. Those were the greatest speakers of the parliament. So he made such a statement, I am quoting, why should Hindus in East Pakistan continue to live in fear? Please understand this with an underline. Continue to live in fear while we remain silent in the name of secularism. Unquote. See, read CAA in this background. Read CAA in this background. So what all positions Syama Prasad Mookerjee took during 48, 47, 48, 49, 50 inside the parliament and outside the parliament, now the present government is fulfilling all those dreams. It is continuing. That's why Syama Prasad Mookerjee was not a person of a bygone era. He is still alive with a striking idea in the form of an idea. And he wrote in his resignation letter, I am quoting, you cannot build, this is also very significant issue which Syama Prasad Mookerjee has raised. You cannot build national unity by appeasing those who deny the very basis of our civilizational oneness. What else is to be said? You cannot build national unity. That's why I already said that Syama Prasad Mookerjee was not fear of any sort of this political correctness or a sort of progressiveness, pseudo-progressiveness. He said it clearly. You cannot build national unity by appeasing those who deny the very basis of our civilizational unity. How could it be? If you are not agreeing about the civilizational unity or the indubitable cultural unity that Baba Sahib Ambedkar was saying, or the cultural unity or the civilizational spiritual unity which has been mentioned by Mahatma Gandhiji in his Hindu Swaraj, while contradicting, while facing those who are talking against the unity of Bharat, Mahatma Gandhiji said in his work, Hindu Swaraj, that Bharat is one because of our spiritual unity, our civilizational unity. If someone is not ready to accept this minimum thing, how can we expect some sort of action from there for working for the national unity? Let us therefore remember him not just as a historical figure, but as a living idea. The idea that Bharat, when true to herself, can lead the world. Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee was not the echo of an age gone by. He was the voice that still calls upon us to build a strong, self-reliant and united Bharat. So from here, we have to think for some minutes about the topic which has been, already the topic has been mentioned, I have entered into that topic. What all are necessary, it has been explained also. Still, we have to think about the idea of nation as Bharat is explaining to the whole world. Unlike the Western concept of nationhood, which often arises from mutual interest, Bharatiya concept of Rashtra is fundamentally distinct. It is cultural and rooted in profound spiritual vision. Our nation's founders were not merely leaders but rishis and visionaries, guiding the nation with wisdom and dharma. In contrast, Western nations often emerged from political or economic reasons. Western nations were frequently led by military conquerors, politicians, or businessmen. Their nationalism has been shaped by jealousy, competition, and conflict, often resulting in war and destruction. In Bharat, however, nationalism has always emphasized cooperation, harmony, peace, and goodwill. This explains why the West has often resorted to destructive wars, while Bharatiya conquests have typically been peaceful and persuasive. I have used the word conquest. How we conquest the whole world. Hu Jin, who was the ambassador of China to America, has clearly defined what was Indian conquest of the whole world. He once said, India conquered and dominated China culturally for 20 centuries without ever having to send a single soldier across the border. Then how they have conquered the whole world? Conquered with this civilizational power, with our spiritual content, our tradition, our view towards the whole world, not only animate, inanimate. We are always respecting everyone. That was our position. It is entirely different. We cannot say that nation everywhere is equal. No. Our Rashtra concept is entirely different. That was the position taken by Syama Prasad Mookerjee right from his beginning days. So let us conclude, or we can come forward with some points. Main characteristic features of Western variant of nationalism. One, I will speak a bit fast, not necessary to explain much. First, state preceded the nation. That is the one peculiar feature of the Western nation concept, which may be called state-based nation or nation-state. Second, politics occupies the center stage of nationalism. Third, antithetical to international order. Here one or two sentences are needed. See, these so-called Western nations and their leaders are always talking about a world state, global order. What is their order? We don't know. They are talking about the freedom for all nations to keep their sovereignty. To help us to keep our sovereignty, they will come. They will send their Sena, their army, and settle here. These type of activities are going on, and they still claim that they are for international order. But actually, their actions, their invasions, their positions regarding others, it was actually antithetical to international order. There are so many examples before you. Fourth, exclusive, regimental, and racist, which reminds of fascism and Nazism entailing two world wars. All these two world wars were made on this line or on this theory. They were exclusive, regimental, and racist. Fifth, discord, conflict, and cutthroat competition serve as the basis of the development of nation or nation-state system. That's why a great thinker, A.G.P. Taylor, wrote a book about the nation development. It is very much jovial to see what he was. It's a joke. What was the title? Struggle for Mastery over Europe. This mastery concept is very much embedded in their DNA. Master. You have to become the master of the whole world. So he wrote a book, Struggle for Mastery over Europe. Sixth, dimension of governance eclipsing the part of nation. Part of nation means the Rashtra. It includes components like anti-colonial movement, political reform, constitutionalism and development. This type of very goody-goody words will be taught, but they haven't got anything to do with these things. 7, not prone to values like rationalism, democracy and liberty. Just like they were talking about international order or world state, they used to say about liberty. But where we are seeing liberty in their nation states, we cannot see. And 8, cultural ethos, universalism and humanism have hardly any space in this nation state. That's it. And here, without knowing the dangers inside it, in our nation also the so-called political scientists are repeating the same mistake by parroting their own theories of nation state. Then what is the concept of Bharatiya Rashtra? Coming directly to the idea of building up of a nation or a Rashtra, we have to calmly think about the forces which are acting against us and which are the forces acting in favor of us. From this point of view, in today's Bharat, there are 3 types of nationalists. They are claiming that they are nationalists. There are 3 types that I have divided it into 3. To make it very easy, I will use 3 Swadeshi words to explain them. First, they are Navarashtravadis, neo-nationalists. Those who say we are a newborn nation beginning right from 1947. We were never a nation before that. We became a nation after the advent of British rule. They gave us the theories, explanations, or the ideology of nation. That's why we started thinking that we are a nation, so we fought against them. See, actual fathers of the national freedom struggle was also these so-called Europeans as per their explanation, this neo-nationalist explanation. As a result, we fought for freedom, made sacrifices and attained freedom. In effect, these neo-nationalists who are thinking that ours is not a nation, was not a nation, may be a nation tomorrow, that type of personalities are thinking that actually this freedom was also given by them. That is Navarashtravadi. Bahurashtravadi, those who are thinking that ours is not one nation, there are so many nations in Bharat. Those ideologists or such peculiar party politicians or petty politicians used to say that Bharat is a composite mixture of 17 or more nations. They never stopped there. They said that each of those nations have got the power for self-determination. They have got the power to secede from our nation. These were told by some political theorists during the Swatantrata Sangram, independence struggle. They said. Recently also so many of the such people are saying that South is to be cut away from North. Yesterday only a great leader of that particular family said that we need a Dravidastan, Dravida Rashtra. There is an Arya Rashtra, there is a Dravida Rashtra, there must be an Assam Rashtra. Some are saying that a Vishala Bengal Rashtra. They are all talking about Bahurashtra. That's why I put the name Bahurashtravadis. And the third one, that is Chira Rashtravadis, permanent Rashtravadis. Right from Veda or beyond that. Through Shankara to Swami Vivekananda, from Syama Prasad Mookerjee to Dinadayal Upadhyaya, explained our Rashtra as an eternal one. It's an eternal one, a cultural one. We have got enough evidences in our great scriptures, even in Vedas. Many of you might have heard about that particular sloka about the Rashtrotpatti, how Rashtra was formed. It was explained in Atharva Veda. It goes like this. Bhadramichanda rishaya sorvida tapo diksham upase duregre tato rashtram belamojascha jadam tadasmai devam upasannamantu. The secret knowing rishis, desiring the welfare of whole mankind. There is a particular word used in this Veda Sukta, that is Sorvida. You can see, you can understand it, feel it in many of our scriptures, to be more precisely all scriptures of Bharat. No matter whether it is Veda, no matter whether it is Upanishad, that's why we used to say that Sarvepi Sukhinas Santu, Sarve Santu Niramaya. Always we are talking about Sarva, not about ourselves or our relatives. We are talking about the whole humanity and the whole universe. The secret knowing rishis, desiring the welfare of all mankind, performed tapas and austerities, and as a result a mighty, powerful Rashtra was born, before which even gods prostrate. Deva Namantu. They are all doing prostration before that Rashtra. That's our Rashtra. This clearly signifies that, according to Vedas, nations are the product of the tapas of rishis, whose sole aim was well-being of humanity. It was this vision that gave rise to the cultural nationalism of the Hindus. You may be remembering, during the pandemic days, we have created vaccines, Bharat. Many were against it. That's not today's topic, so I am not going into it. But our scientists, especially our women scientists, developed the vaccine, COVID or co-vaccine. We never used it for us only. We never used it for economic benefit. At that strange period, dangerous period, we freely distributed it to the whole world, especially the developing nations. Even developed nations also took this medicine from us. But those medicine packets were, when airlifted, on that aircraft, the flights, it was written, Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Santu Niramaya. No one in the whole world shall fall ill. That was our concept. Our concept is for whole. In the same way, Swami Vivekananda, also we just come to Swami Vivekananda. I have already said that from Swami Vivekananda to Shankara to Vivekananda. Once he was asked to explain what is nation, what is Rashtra, and how we can make it strong. That was a fundamental question raised before Swami Vivekananda, and he was asked to speak on that. In that particular speech, he made a definition of the Rashtra, or the way forward to make this nation strong, what is to be done. That quotation is very familiar. It is there in all of your houses. Renunciation and service are the national ideals of this nation. If you want to strengthen this nation, strengthen her in those channels, and rest will take care of itself. So, only two things are the national ideals of this nation. Every nation has got some ideals. They are here to fulfill that. Once it is fulfilled, they will diminish. Their existence will not be there. They will dissolve into the thin air. But our nation is still existing. Swami Vivekananda said, why we are existing? We haven't said the last word yet. That's it. For the whole world, we have to say something more. We have got a message to deliver. We have got a destiny to reach. We have got a mission to accomplish. That is to serve the whole world, to spiritualize the whole world, to pave way for the whole world. That is our work. For that, what should we do? Renunciation and service. Tyaga or seva. Tyaga and seva are the two sides of same coin. One is in a subtle form, that is tyaga bhava, how it is being manifested through service. So these are the national ideals, and if you want to strengthen this nation to fulfill its duty, you have to strengthen these channels, and rest will take care of itself. So here also, for the whole humanity we are working. That is the basic point on which, or the focus on which this Bharat was developed. There are so many examples. I don't want to quote so many slokas, but Veda, Upanishad, and afterwards there were so many sahityas in literature. Even during Kalidasa time, he wrote Vikramorvashiya. In Vikramorvashiyam, there was a particular sloka which says the same thing. Sarvas taradu durgani, sarvo bhadrani pashyantu, sarva kaman avapnotu, sarva sarvatra nantatu. Again, sarva, sarva, sarva. Sarva means whole. For all, for all. What is to be? There all difficulties shall be overcome. Sarvas tharadu durgani. They must pass through these difficult times easily. That's our prarthana. All. And then we say, Sarvo bhadrani pashyantu. All must see noble things only. And then he says, Sarve kamana vapnoti. One which is to be attained, that must be attained by all. And then says, Sarva sarvatra nantatu. Everyone must be happy. Make everyone happy. That is the purpose of our life. This has developed into a nation or a territorial entity. This tapas bhumi has been developed into Bharat. Everywhere it is pulsating. This particular concept is pulsating. It has been clearly mentioned by none other than Adi Shankara. So many of his kritis, many of his actions, he is traveling all over Bharat, establishing mathas and dhams. It is all explaining about the nation's unity and Rashtra concept. But in his Saundarya Lahari, in the 49th sloka, many of you might have heard about that sloka, he was explaining about main 8 nagars, cities of Bharat. How those nagars or cities were developed through different 8 types of gazes of Devi, Adi Parashakti. That is his explanation in Saundarya Lahari. Beautiful it is. Vishala Kalyani Spudaruchira Ayodhya Kuvalayai. See, you are all familiar with these names. Vishala Kalyani Spudaruchira Ayodhya Kuvalayai. Kripa Dhara Dhara. Dhara means Bhopal ke Dhar Nagari. Kripa Dhara Dhara. Kimapi Mathura Bhogavatika. Mathura. Avanti. Drishtiste Bahu Nagara Vistara Vijaya Nagari. Dhruvam Tattanyama Vyavaharana Yogya Vichayate. These are all in our ancient scriptures. Even the cities were developed on this spiritual concept. The particular gaze, how they are seeing the whole world. With a Vishala Drishti, all encompassing Drishti, with love and compassion, with a motherly affection. It's looking, and cities are developed on that ground. It is not just about the soil and the mortar. It is all about the civilizational content of this nation. That's it. This same spirit has been explained to Maharishi Aurobindo, and also Dinadayal Upadhyaya, spirituality of her culture, that is Bharat message. It has been clearly mentioned by those great leaders and thinkers of this nation. Pandit Dinadayal Upadhyaya also, see, this is the 60th year of Ekatma Manava Darshan also. Pandit Dinadayal Upadhyaya was the worker who has been given the responsibility of the General Secretary of Bharatiya Jana Sangha when Dr.Syama Prasad Mookerjee started Bharatiya Jana Sangha. Pandit Dinadayal Upadhyaya, another political philosopher who delved deep into the concept of nationhood, and Dinadayalji said about this very clearly. I should briefly, I would like to give you some points only. First, Rashtratva is not shaped by mere mundane consideration but serves a higher purpose. Rashtratva. Being Rashtra, that is Rashtratva. Second, he asserted that much like the soul of an individual, every society possesses an innate nature, one that is intrinsic and not merely a product of historical circumstances, a soul, the Swa. Third, Rashtra, he emphasized, encompasses the entire spectrum of life shared by its people. So, Dinadayal Upadhyaya in Integral Humanism, he said, I am quoting, like soul or a fundamental principle of a nation, every society has an innate nature which is inborn and is not the result of historical circumstances. Rashtra connotes the entire gamut of the life of the people constituting it. Man's behavior in relation to society should also be guided by a similar consideration so that our philosophy can be useful to world peace and happiness. So our cultural national concept is for the world peace and the welfare of the whole. That is the main characteristics of our nation's concept. I would like to conclude because the time is up. Again, Swami Vivekananda said about this nation and nation's role in the whole world. He also indicates that this nation, this Rashtra has got a lot to do for the whole world. That is the very purpose of our being. Dinadayalji again added, Chiti is the touchstone on which each action, each attitude is tested and determined to be acceptable or otherwise. Chiti is the soul of nation. On the strength of this Chiti, a nation rises strong and virile. It is this Chiti that is demonstrated in the actions of every great man of a nation. Every society has an innate nature which is not the result of historical circumstances. So this legacy is to be continued. The effect of their vision means the great Vedic rishis, Shankara to Vivekananda, Syama Prasad Mookerjee to Dinadayalji, Mahatma Gandhiji to Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Maharishi Aurobindo. Effect of their vision, it is continuing. The continuing effect of their vision can be sensed in policies that blend strategic strength with civilizational confidence. The worldwide appeal of International Yoga Day, the restoration of ancient pilgrimage corridors, and humanitarian rescue missions undertaken by the Bharat government all rest on the conviction that soft power and hard power reinforce one another when they spring from a living culture. When it springs from a living culture, it will help the whole world, and the legacy can be taken forward by us. It is going on. And this cultural nationhood, that's a point which I have to conclude. The cultural nationhood is a model for the whole world. The cultural spiritual nationalism offers the world a model of nationhood that is assertive without chauvinism and modern without deracination. Already I have said, progress and also without the deracination that was been commended by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore about Syama Prasad Mookerjee. So our cultural spiritual nationalism offers the world a model of nationhood that is assertive without chauvinism and modern without deracination. It is this cultural continuity, and the resilience of Bharatiya thought that have enabled Bharat to endure and thrive despite periods of violent and annihilative disruptions over the past 1,000 years. We are quite aware about that fact also. We have suffered a lot for the last 1,000 years. Continuous attacks were there. Continuous manhunting were there. So many lakhs were taken away from us. It all happened, but still this nation is still alive. No matter whether Tartars ruled us, no matter whether Turks ruled us, no matter whether Britain or Europe, any of the European nations ruled us, but our Rashtra is still continuing its flow. It will go again forward. That's what Swami Vivekananda said. I would like to conclude by quoting him. There have been other nations that have come and gone, living a few years of exultant and exuberant dominance and of a wicked national life, and then vanishing the ripples on the face of the waters. But we live, and if Manu came back today, he would not be bewildered and would not find himself in a foreign land. I would like to conclude. Namaskar, Vande Mataram.
Thank you, Mananiya Nandakumarji, for that enlightening and inspiring address on the life of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. Your words will truly resonate in our hearts and guide our own journeys. We now move on to the most awaited address by His Excellency, Honorable Governor of Kerala, to deliver the keynote speech.
आदरणीय नंदकुमार जी, आदरणीय कनक सभापति जी, आदरणीय धोड़ावत हमारे एसीएस श्री श्रवण कुमार जी, all other dignitaries sitting in the audience, my dear friends, sisters and brothers. The lecture which we just heard is nothing but I will explain it in just one word as a fantastic interpretation of our nationhood. What we have been asking that what we have to be, right from Navarashtravad, Bahurashtravad, to what we want to establish and what has already been established is a Chira Rashtravad. It is very beautifully placed before us, and I am 100% aware that I need not comment after this fantastic lecture, inspiring lecture. I am happy that I could present Nandakumarji before all of you here with this novel idea of what is our Rashtravad, what is our nationhood, and what is exactly happening in different parts of our country as well in the parts of world, and what we have to propagate now. That has been beautifully put before us. Nandakumarji himself has been writing, as was mentioned. He is the national coordinator of Prajna Pravah. Prajna here we should say. Prajna is all that intellectual what we need and which direction it should go, that Pravaha. That is what Nandakumarji here. I am very much thankful for the Syama Prasad Mookerjee Research Foundation, who have given this opportunity to us to put before you what our nation needs today. Right from Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee and till today, what we are thinking about nation, nationality and nationhood, that has been very nicely put before us. Now the onus is on us. Responsibility is with us. How we will be propagating all these thoughts in the society, with the people, in the families, in our neighborhood. All that is now our responsibility. We have to take something from here. As he was mentioning, that every nation has got something to deliver. So also every person has something to deliver to the society. and that is our responsibility now. I hope we will not failing in our responsibility and duty. We will be doing that very perfectly to reach to the people what we need today at most. And that is how, that is why we all are today here to understand and propagate. On behalf of Raj Bhavan, Kerala, I am very much thankful to Nandakumar ji having come here all the way in spite of his schedules here, this and there. In fact, 2 days earlier we were to meet in Pune, but he could not come there. I was then in Pune University. But still he made it here and he delivered, he enlightened us on the issue of nationhood. I thank you, all of you here, and particularly Nandakumar ji and Shri Kanaka Sabhapati ji. That's all. Nanni.
Thank you, His Excellency. It was truly inspiring, sir. Your words inspire us with the message of national unity through the reflection of the life of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. As the curtains draw on this memorable evening, may I now request Shri N. Saravakumar to present the vote of thanks.
Namaskaram, respected Honorable Governor, distinguished guests, speakers, and dear participants. It is my profound privilege to propose the vote of thanks on the momentous occasion of 125th birth anniversary of Shri Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee, a visionary leader, statesman, and patriot who dedicated his life to the cause of national unity and integrity. At the outset, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to the Honorable Governor, who has most graciously hosted this event at the esteemed Raj Bhavan and delivered an inspiring keynote address. Sir, your words have truly enriched this commemoration and reminded us of the enduring relevance of Dr. Mookerjee's idea in nation building. Our sincere thanks to Professor Kanaka Sabhapati ji, Secretary and Trustee of Syama Prasad Mookerjee Research Foundation, New Delhi, for his thoughtful inaugural address, which beautifully set the tone for today's proceeding. A special word of appreciation to Shri Nandakumar ji, National Convener of Prajna Pravah, for delivering memorial lecture. His enlightening address captured the spirit, philosophy, and contribution of Dr. Mookerjee to the nation intellectual and politics. We also express our gratitude to all the dignitaries, scholars, and friends who have joined us today, especially on a busy Monday, taking time out of your schedule to be part of this tribute to one of India's greatest son. Your presence truly reflects the respect and admiration that Dr. Mookerjee continues to command across generations. Finally, our appreciation goes to the organization team, staff of Raj Bhavan, security personnel, members of the press, and members of SPMRF for their meticulous effort in making this event a grand success. Once again, thank you all for being with us this evening, for keeping alive the legacy and message of Dr. Syama Prasad Mookerjee. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.
Thank you, Ji. May I now request all to rise for the national anthem, and I request Shri Vikas Ji to sing the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगी गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे